G'day, g'day, g'day. So, welcome to the Imperfectly Perfect TV, where each week you can join me live with international guests. Today is none other than a good friend of mine, and you may know and recognize her face, guys. It's Miss Rachael Newsham.
Hey, Glenn.
Yes, she is.
To see you.
How are you?
Yeah, great, thanks. Lovely day here in Auckland. We've had some rain, but today the sun came out, so happy days.
What's been happening with filming? You finished your filming?
Yeah, so we're in post-production and pre-production. It's a window that happens after you finish filming a round and you're preparing for the next round.
Right. So, first time I've tested this out. So, how does the sound? Does it sound echoey, or have I done a good job?
Pretty good to me. I mean, I'm using my phone, so sounds pretty good on the phone.
Well, I went out to IKEA today and I bought some mats for the floor, and I bought some curtains, and I bought some plants because apparently plants help the echo. So I'm like, here we go. Oh man, it's been doing my head in, seriously.
Worse than bad sound, nothing worse.
Oh, there's nothing worse. Anyway, I said that we were going to jump on and just touch base on a little bit towards like mental fitness. Everybody knows you from Les Mills, but today we know you as Rachael Newsham. And what is the mission that's been placed on your heart, and why are you so integral about helping people with health, fitness, but the psychology of it all as well through mental fitness?
Yeah, in my brief way of explaining why I do what I do, I'll try and summarize it in a sense that I feel like every 5 to 10 years, I get a deeper understanding of the world around me, let's say my environment, so my community and the world outside. A deeper understanding, and what that means is it's a kind of moment when you say to yourself, I think I get it. So you understand to a degree, but then every now and again, every 5 to 10 years, I feel like I just get real deeper understanding around what I'm here for, what I'm doing. Am I just teaching group exercise classes? Am I just being a good friend? What am I doing here? Like, how do I make this time count? And I've realized that everything I experience, I tend to share my learnings with everyone around me. So it feels like it's just a case of, well, I'm in the fitness industry, but health and fitness is beyond what the body does now. It's all about the headspace. Like, what is your real estate value at the moment? And if the value of your thoughts are pretty poor, then the quality of your life is going to be poor. And when I say poor, what does that mean? What does that look like? So you've got a lack of positive thoughts coming through your mind, and you've got an over excess amount of negative thoughts. Negative thoughts are things where you sort of you look for the worst case scenario in life. You're dwelling on a conversation you've had with a colleague or a friend. You're looking at the cost of everything and going, everything is too much. And you've sort of forecast way beyond the boundary of your little bit of real estate, and you're taking on everyone's worries. So I want to make a difference to myself so the quality of my life is better, and the value of my real estate up here is better. And I want to share those learnings with people around me by openly talking about things that people haven't considered before, just because they haven't been in a position where they've had to understand or wanted to understand.
Do you know, and we talk about this often, we have great conversations through messages when it comes to the mindset and everything. But how do you think that it has impacted your life the more that you've removed the ego, in the sense of an ego being ourself that keeps us held back with patterns that we go through and repeating them?
I love that, Glenn. Yeah, so ego often has an attachment to it. When you say ego to somebody, people think of it in a negative sense. Ego allows us as humans to be able to do things that push us out of our comfort zone. It's that confidence, but unfortunately it drives behavior. And I've learned through lots of reading and listening, particularly a gentleman called Eckhart Tolle, who has huge education and learning around the ego and our ego and how we can be in control of it so it's not in control of us. And I feel like the ego has a purpose, and then it steps beyond its purpose. And that's when people get uncomfortable. That's when there's problems, and there's just expectations that aren't being met, and sadness and struggle. And it's when the ego's gone beyond its boundary. So it's there for a purpose, and then it's just messing with other stuff. It's like, no, this isn't, you don't need to get involved in this, Mr. Ego, Miss Ego. Stay out of this. This ain't about you right now. This is other stuff that I can benefit from, and certainly not from the ego getting involved.
It's true though, isn't it? And so I suppose when you started your career in health and fitness and you suddenly transitioned into the limelight, so to speak, like anyone in entertainment, whatever career with a promotion, you're going into that uncomfortable state. So the ego will come back into play on repeating patterns to try and hold you back into being comfortable, I suppose. So how did you step and go, oh shit, I'm now to the masses, which means there's more eyes on me. That means I've been given something placed on my heart to make an impact, but I also know there's going to be positive feedback, negative feedback. Is that going to take me back into the ego? Is it going to make me keep walking forward? How do you deal with that?
Oh, I was real young. I was very early 20s. So very little life experience in terms of dealing with feedback. 20 years later, I've had a lot of feedback. So I know how to deal with that. And I don't know. Well, I do know, but it's hard to summarize it really succinctly. If I cast my mind back and think about my behavior and what that looks like now as I reflect on my behavior, I believe that I had such love, personal love, for the way group exercise made the quality of my life so much better, that it was a given that I was going to do this. There was no consideration that something or someone or a comment was going to get in the way of that, because I enjoyed it so much. If people openly enjoyed me doing that for them, that I had built enough body armor, emotional body armor, to be able to handle everyone else's feedback, because I knew at a deep core level that I was adding value to people's lives. And anyone that wanted to chip away at that was chipping away at what I could do for other people. So I needed to sort of block that and be like, are you going to help me improve the quality of my performance or my knowledge? If that's yes, then I'm listening. If that's just a personal comment around whether you like or you don't like me, then I've got to kind of leave that with you. Yeah. Because I can't expect everyone to like me. I'm not here to get everyone to like me. I'm here so that everyone likes exercise. That's my role. I'm here because I want people to like exercise, not me, just exercise. So if I focus on getting people to enjoy exercising without thinking about whether they like me or they don't, then I'm doing my job. And if they like me, brilliant. If they don't like me, they'll go to someone else.
Mm-hmm. You go quite deep. As I've got to know you, you go quite deep in terms of listening to people and learning. What is a great book that changed your life into start looking more deeply at either spirituality or stepping into who you're always supposed to become?
Okay. Well, it's not a very deep book, and I'm trying to remember the title of it, but it did make a big impact to how I showed up in the world. And I grew up in the UK like you did, and there was a gentleman he was like a mentalist. So he obviously understood neuroscience, the brain, a lot of those sort of concepts. And his book was something along the lines of Choosing Your Thoughts or whatever it was. I can't remember the name of it. He was a McKenna or something like that. I can't remember McKenna. Anyway,
Paul McKenna.
Maybe Paul McKenna. Maybe that's it. I have to Google it afterwards.
The guy that used to be on TV and did all the stuff. Yeah. Paul McKenna. Is he still about?
And his book, I don't know if it's still on my bookshelf. I definitely read it when I was here. One of the chapters was about choosing your thoughts. That was the first time that I was introduced to the concept of choosing my thoughts. And that made a big difference to how I showed up in the world. For example, as a young 20-something-year-old, I always had a belief that people older than me knew better, should be listened to, and respected above and beyond all other concepts. So if they're speaking to me a certain way, if they're behaving a certain way, then they know more than I do. So I just need to pay attention and be quiet and listen. And I just felt uncomfortable around certain people. And it was because I wasn't using my voice. And I would go into spending time with those people in this as a sort of shadow of my potential, because I was almost intimidated. I was intimidated by them. And when I realized that I was choosing to be intimidated, because it wasn't what they were doing, and this is key to the message here. It's not what they were doing. It's the impression I was building of them that made them intimidating. It wasn't them. It was all happening up here. And as soon as I decided I'm not going to be intimidated by them, I don't have to be intimidated by you. It was all based around that. And it changed the way I showed up in the world, because I was young. I did have a lot of responsibility. I was supposed to be this figurehead, but I was still learning how to be that person. And to do that without experience, you really have to believe in yourself. And I needed to find tools that would enable me to have that self-belief and just sort of disregard the unhelpful thoughts that were holding me back. So yeah, it was something like Change Your Life or something. And Paul McKenna's all about hypnotherapy and that kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, you're taking us back now. He used to be about when like Mr. Motivator was on GMTV, all that, because he used to be on there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Paul McKenna. Oh, I'm going to Google him afterwards, see if he's still about.
Great book. Everything was amazing in the book, but you know, when a chapter, you turn a page, ding, there's a 5 to 10 year moment for me. Boom. Now I'm in charge of my thoughts. Now they're not just happening in my head. Now I'm choosing which ones to listen to and which ones to get rid of. I'm going to get rid of the ones that are making me feel rubbish.
Something did that with me the other day. I was reading something and it really struck a chord with me, and it was talking about how much are you truly helping other people, or how many people do you want to impact and help? Because the more successful you want others to be, the more you get elevated. And I was reading it, and it's this concept, and it brought up the word imperfections, and it was talking about how many people, and again on LinkedIn, all this, they all talk about, if my story, or if I can impact just one single person, then I've made a difference and I've changed someone's life. However, if they do a live on IG or LinkedIn, or they do an event and one person turns up, what tends to happen? They go into their ego and they cancel it, because they're like, oh, there's only one person watching. What is it? Oh, that's not going to look good. No engagement. However, this book, it was talking about the concept of that one person could have been sent, I always say by God, for you to pour into them, because that was your next opportunity to show that you truly do care about other people. And that person may have just been somebody who gives you the biggest opportunity of your life, because you took time to pour into them. But instead, you allowed your ego to cancel it, because you thought with societal expectations, oh, it don't look good because I've only got like one person in front of me. So books. Anyway,
it's interesting what you like on that, because it's powerful. It's overriding what it looks like to what it feels like. Looks, what does that mean? Looks. Do I have the same eyes as you? Can I see the world in the same way that you see the world? No. Can anybody? No, because we've all got completely unique DNA, apart from the 5% of twins in the world. I don't know. I'm making that number up. It's not 5%, but our eyes are completely unique. And the way I see that color blue is not going to be the same as the way you see that color blue. And worrying about the way somebody else sees the world is just inhibiting your experience here. It's inhibiting your time. It's understandable because it's called survival.
Yeah.
And overriding process. It's like, okay, so I've done this so I can survive, so that my community accept me, so that I've learned how to conform to society's constructs and norms and values and behave in a way that doesn't inhibit or restrict other people. But when those constructs start to inhibit and restrict regular day-to-day behavior, like, oh, only one person's listening, you've lost perspective. And I'll give you an example. If you're sat on the bus and you're having a thought, and it's the stranger next to you makes polite small talk and you have a conversation, it's fulfilling, and it's just with one person. And often it's really easy to have because that stranger has very little judgment. They don't know you from Adam and Eve or Derek and Steve. And you're going to spill your guts and enjoy every moment. And potentially they may say something really pivotal and powerful. And you're not going to turn around and go, oh, that was a waste of time because there was only one person on the bus listening to me.
Mm.
Tell me who's going to stand up and go, hey, I'm having a conversation with this person. Can you all tune in to me? Can you? Me? That's right. You at seat number 35. Take your earphones out. This is really important. What I'm talking about. You all need to pay attention because right now, my ego needs you all to listen. Otherwise, if you don't, I'm not talking. And like that's the reality of it. The media is absolutely screwed in our sense of what is real and what is important. So don't worry about it. If one person, like you've just said, don't worry if one person's tuning in. That could be the person that you meet that needs to hear your message, or that needs to see you that day, or that needs to sit next to you on the bus, or that needs a smile, or that needs to read something you've posted. We all have needs. Just keep perspective, I think, and make sure that we don't stop ourselves because we're scared of people judging us for something as superficial as social media.
Amen to that. That's the biggest thing about IPC, isn't it? It's just about disrupting social media and the highlight reels. And I always say to people though, when I'm on, I ain't here to preach, or any guest isn't here to preach. It from personal experience. We've been through those experiences. I've judged, I've compared myself. I ended up with bloody body dysmorphia because I compared myself. So if we can use our story, I always say, Les Brown often says, the story you're sat on, somebody's waiting to hear. And you essentially can be an expert in helping somebody move forward out of that problem. So I will finish with one question, mate, because I know you've got to get your head back into study, and I'm not going to stop that study. I always ask everybody that question, so I'm going to ask something else. What if you had a superpower to change humanity for the better? What would you love to see, or how would you use that superpower to make an impact?
It would be hearing. It would be improve the quality of hearing. So instead of just hearing the words that are coming out of people's mouths, it would be, what is the message that's coming out of this person right now? What is the true, authentic message? For example, if somebody says to you, if somebody said to me, how you doing, Rach? Are you okay? And I went, yeah. What is this saying to you? I'm saying yeah, but my head is shaking in the no.
Yeah.
So I would hear yes, but the actual message is, no, I'm not great. So I think a superpower that I could share with the world, it would be to be able to give everybody the ability to truly hear and listen, in a sense that I find myself watching the news and reading the news and listening to what's going on in the world. And there's a lot of people, bless them, that are taking responsibility for their countries, that have stepped up to take responsibility. Some of them have pushed their way to the top, fought their way to the top. Some of them are holding their position at the top because they're scared of giving it to someone else. Whatever way they got there, however they're leaving, there's too much talking and not enough listening. That's something I've really observed. And it's the example I would give is, if we were to swap out, impossible, but if we were to swap for a day, a little bit like take your kids to work, and you see kids reading the news at 6 o'clock, or kids teaching the lessons at school just for the day, and it's fun. If we were to swap out all of the leaders, the people that have all the buttons and pull all the triggers in the world for our countries that we live in, and take those voices and those mouthpieces away, all credit to the great work they do, but it's missing a piece. If we were to swap them with people that sit and listen, the equivalent of the people that are really at the coalface of society, we're listening to people that are struggling, and see what a difference we could make if we partnered both senses. So listen twice as much as you speak, 2 ears, 1 mouth. If that could make a huge impact to the evolution of humanity in a relatively quick period of time, I think that would be it. So yeah, I'd love to see people listen with the ability to really understand the message that's coming from that person, not just what they're saying. How about you? What would you think?
See, I agree with that. It's the discernment of listening. Now, I will finish it and say there are some incredible guys out there that do listen, but I will have to say we need more women in power. Purely because women are more compassionate, they're more empathetic, they don't lead by their head, they do listen. So, and I'm not going to cut the guys off because I'm a guy myself, but it's very true. You see a lot of leaders who are male, who are heavy hitters, who just go straight in, and it's kind of like, hold on a minute, you know that women, they give birth to children, they're you know, all the words that I'm trying to say. They just listen a lot more. And I'm not saying every single woman does, like every single man doesn't, but that for humanity, to me, it would be having that discernment to listen and understand. There's too much fighting, too much squabbling, too much comparing, competing. And if I can say anything, it's that when I was speaking about how much are you helping other people win, it's this piece around how much are you really celebrating other people? How much are you clapping? How much do you look at other people's socials and actually go, oh shit, there they are again, they're doing this, they're doing that, oh my life's shit. Instead of changing that narrative around and actually clapping the loudest and elevating your conscious to the point where if you are clapping for people because you've taken the time to listen to like one of my podcasts with yourself and understood what you've gone through or come through, then you can relate and actually go, you know what, Rachel deserves all that success because my God, what she had to go through to get there. And that's how I think if I could change that superpower to people, and I won't say it's a superpower, but it's just taking that time, because we often go straight into, oh, they've got money, oh, they've got fame, what would they know? And it's like, actually, some of those people went through traumatic experiences, abuse, whatever it is. So now you've seen them in a totally different light and you're going, you're the biggest fan. That would be mine for people, just to do a little bit more due diligence without making judgment on people. And I think if anything, the IPC, that has taught me, because as I said, I'm not here to preach. I used to look at certain people and go, what would they know? And then you talk to them. It's the talking piece, which comes back to your listening and talking, isn't it?
Gosh, it's so powerful. Imagine if, a bit like that movie, I think, was it DiCaprio that was in it? Maybe it was DiCaprio. And above everybody's head, there was a time, there was a amount of time that you were given, and that when your time ran out, you left the world. That was it. And you bought time. You didn't buy youth, you bought time. Imagine if we lived in a society where when you met somebody, you intuitively downloaded their history and you got a sense of who they are as a person. So when you spoke to them, you could actually hear the message. So maybe what we're both saying actually works hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like a download of relatability and understanding, so that it wouldn't just be driven by the way the world is. I mean, it's not Elysium. You know, I'm not talking about this ideal world, you know.
You don't know. The world is doing some strange things. So you don't know, mate.
I don't know, but I do know that I won't fix it now. I've come to that conclusion. Nothing is getting fixed now. Nothing that I do today is going to make everything better by tomorrow. But what I can do is rest in the knowledge that at least I did my part. At least I'm doing something. And 100 years ago, they would have wished, they would have dreamed of having what I have now. So it's only life is lived forward but understood backwards. And trying to fix everything just puts us into overwhelm and fear. Lead from love, live with love, and know it's okay. All we can do is what we can do today. But if we don't do anything today, it's going to build up like the washing, the pots in the sink, like the washing in the laundry basket. You've got to do a bit every day, otherwise it builds up. And the absolute simple things that can be done very easily become insurmountable, and we have huge problems. And then it takes only the brave and the bold to face them. So if we all do a little bit daily together, hopefully we'll make the world move in a smooth direction for the people that come after us, so that we can truly pay it forward.
Oh, that was a good way to finish the show. Mate, I always appreciate your time. What is coming up for you? You've just wrapped on filming.
Yeah, so I'm heading out on tour on Monday. So I've got 5 or 6 days in New Orleans. They call it NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana, which apparently is an abbreviation. And then I'm doing a tour of the YMCA's, so like northeast part of the States, for a week after that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing a few people that I haven't seen for 3 years, reconnecting with live classes, meeting people that I've never met before that have joined and been doing workouts with me over the last 2-3 years, and hearing the stories. It's the bit that fills up my tank, hearing the stories of people that are just changing their life in a way that is making them feel better every day, and saying, and basically it's just because they found a way to exercise that doesn't feel like punishment, you know? And I've been part of that, and it just reminds me of why I enjoy doing what I do.
Well, mate, we appreciate you. I appreciate you. I will let you get back to study, because this woman takes a lot on and she's incredible at the books. I'm learning from her as well. So, all right, mate, well, I will let you go. And guys, keep tuning in. Hopefully there was not much echo on here. Did it sound? I'm going to listen to the recording and see, but I might have just done it with IKEA stuff. Look at that, resourceful. All right, mate. I'll chat to you soon.
Go, take care. See ya.
Bye. All right, there you go, guys. The incredible Rachael Newsham. So make sure you are tuning in each week when I bring more international, incredible faces from the Imperfectly Perfect campaign to have a chat. There are going to be some virtual hangs coming up through the Imperfectly Perfect Club. So I'm going to put the link on afterwards. We only let a handful of people in at once, so we can fully integrate and welcome them into the community. It is a community of people who want to make a difference, who have had something placed on their heart, wanting to know how to get it in the world, but essentially be in a place where you can embrace the messiness, the imperfections, be yourself. There's free resources, free guided meditations. There are programs in there if you want to do them with some of the faces from the campaign. The Imperfectly Perfect TV is going to start running through there only, but we are integrating it at the minute through all socials, so you can see who's coming up. Rachel's going to be joining more. So many from around the world, guys. So I'm excited. I'm going to leave it there for today. Make sure that you are subscribed to all the Imperfectly Perfect social media pages, where you can find out more and more. Until next time.